You're listening to Experience Imagination, a themed entertainment design podcast presented by Falcon's Creative Group. Every episode, we discuss a new topic with a panel of creative professionals. Hi, I'm Cecil McPurry, President and Chief Creative Officer of Falcons.
Hello, everyone. I'm Audrey DeLong, your moderator for the episode. This is our first special event in 2021. We are going to talk about something very exciting. It's our SpectraVerse attraction system. First, we'll have Cecil McPurry set that up for us, and later on, we're going to get into the conversation with Daryl White and Saham Ali. Hey, Cecil, how you doing?
Real good. Thanks for having me.
So, tell us about the SpectraVerse attraction system. We've been hearing buzz around the studio. We're excited about it.
Very excited. This came up probably 2 years ago, where we started to ideate a new experience where we could take the advantages of the immersive nature of a dark ride and think about how to make it more palatable from a financial standpoint and from a facility impact standpoint. Meaning it's not so demanding for a developer to have to modify their facility to take something so significant as far as weight and volume, etc. These are things that probably listeners would understand when we say facility impact, because to do a dark ride is a big commitment. But what you experience there is so special. And so one of the things that transpired during these creative sessions that we have here is that it became more than what we had envisioned. You know, we wanted something that had less impact to facility and it was more palatable. But there was this other layer of agency that came into play. We're now experimenting heavily and have implemented a lot of kind of the game engine aspects of storytelling. Imagine a dark ride with the impact it has had on our industry. You know, we could name Arthie Award-winning Dark Castle at Williamsburg, Virginia.
Right.
It's an amazing storytelling product that allows guests to be totally immersed viscerally and visually in a story. Now imagine that without a vehicle. You know, now you can actually walk through a journey. And one of the things that transpired was I had envisioned myself as Legolas, one of the Fellowship of Lord of the Rings, and walking through with the other fellows of this journey. And we basically created an experience that allows each individual their own tenets of making a difference on a journey, having a beginning, middle, and end storyline, and actually have participatory experiences that allow you to experience that as if it's real life. You literally can create cause and effect and have different endings and different experiences throughout this journey.
It sounds really powerful, and a lot of times we talk around here is experience your imagination. And I think this is going to be a great opportunity for guests to do exactly that.
No doubt. I mean, there's so much to talk about, but maybe on the back end after our guest talk, I could flesh out some more ideas of how to envision this experience.
Yeah, that sounds perfect. So speaking of which, we're going to roll into our conversation now with Daryl White and Saham Ali.
Sounds good.
We are now joined by Daryl White, Vice President of Global Licensing and Business Development, and Saham Ali, Director of Technology. Welcome, you two.
Hey, how you doing?
Thank you.
I think the audience wants to know when they hear SpectraVerse attraction system. What does that actually mean?
A lot of developers can't afford the infrastructure and the facility input that an attraction like Transformers or Spider-Man or a lot of these amazing dark rides has to offer, but they still want to offer their guests a really immersive sort of dark ride experience. So we thought, well, how can we offer that type of experience but without the cost and without the facility input?
Yeah, so as Daryl mentioned, one of the big ones is definitely facility size, infrastructure, but the next level, what's going to set this thing apart in our head was unique dynamic content. And that's where the SpectraVerse attraction system is really going to shine. Is it's not your traditional dark ride, as we've seen, where a group of people all get to experience the same thing together. Rather, it's unique experiences with everybody that goes through the dark ride.
That brings me to something that we've discussed before, but in this experience, each individual has their own positionally tracked perspective.
That's correct.
What does that mean?
With real-time game engines, what we're now able to accomplish is everybody that's in the ride will get their own vantage point. Basically, imagine they're wearing a virtual reality headset and they're having a unique experience, but they're not wearing a virtual reality headset, and they can look and move their head around, and as they move, the perspective will match, so they feel like they're actually there or actually peering around a corner or looking beyond. It's really effective, and you really have to experience it to realize.
I was just going to say that. Are they wearing 3D glasses?
They are. Every user will be wearing 3D glasses, but this is not your standard 3D glasses you're going to get at the movie theater. These are high-performance 3D glasses.
As we were sort of expanding on our knowledge and developing this technology for these solutions, one of the things we realized was because we can actually see the other guests in the room, we can implement this not only just in sort of a walking dark ride experience, but we could expand this to like multiple people in a single room having a laser tag type of experience. So you could have multiple media screens around this. So everyone is looking at different scenes through the multiple screens, but you could still see your friends playing, your family, all in the same room. That's what we call the SpectraVerse Quest.
You know, I was going to ask Daryl, if I'm somebody who walks into one of these SpectraVerse attractions, what do I expect? What am I going to see? What kind of story am I going to experience?
There's two different versions of the SpectraVerse system, the SpectraVerse Quest and the SpectraVerse Odyssey. So with the SpectraVerse Odyssey, that's really a narrative, story-driven walkthrough experience. And with the SpectraVerse Quest, that's something more that's along the lines of a single room, and you can go in there and have cooperative experiences where all the people in the room are on one team and they're fighting against the bad guys, which are on the other side of the screen. Or it could be competitive, where you're trying to get more points than the other people in the room. Maybe you're on two different teams, but you're able to do that. And because we're offering individual perspectives, we're actually able to give unique media to each person. So we can give a different experience for each type of person. And but those two really show the variations of how we're able to apply that technology.
Can you talk about some of the types of content that we're creating right now?
The content that we've used for some demonstration purposes, we've got some really fun experiences where our guests are having some fights in an old medieval fortress area. But we've also expanded that, and so we've got some new futuristic video game style fighting in a neo steampunk world. And there's just an amazing variety of ways that we can apply this.
Yeah, it's really interesting. When we have people down there in the X Lab trying this out, and you have one person telling you, well, I'm in this world and this is what I see, and the next person over is battling, a mech, that's when you start to understand, oh, okay, we could effectively be in two physical different locations in this virtual world, but we're physically right next to each other, and it's really meta.
Kind of mind-blowing.
Yeah.
Is there anything like this in the market?
This is really the very first implementation of this type of system. It's never been applied before in the entertainment industry. This is all brand new. And so we're really excited to see this. And the thing about it is this can be applied in a number of different types of venues. So on one end, you could see it in a museum as a walk-through experience for your SpectraVerse Odyssey. You can be taking a passage through time and look at and take a snapshot through ancient history. On the other hand, it could be a part of a family entertainment center. If you go through the SpectraVerse Quest, you and your squad line up and you've got 15 minutes to go in there and blast all the zombies, you can go do that. So between museums, entertainment centers, theme parks, really it's an unlimited market for these technologies.
Okay. And I was going to ask you, Daryl, how long does this experience last? Is it a timed type of thing?
No, this is really up to the operator and the creative development team. Because we're creating custom content literally on the fly, we can make it last as little or as long as the client wants the experience to last.
Daryl mentioned dark rides earlier, which are rich in scenic content as well, a lot of times. So was that something you consider, just kind of baking in some of the traditional aspects of a dark ride mixed with the higher end technology?
Absolutely. I think that's what really sells the effect. When you experience it and you see scenic blend seamlessly into the media, it's mind-blowing. When you're physically touching a rock wall, but then also move your head and start to look around the corner of a rock wall into a virtual world, you're like, okay, am I really there? And then adding effects like light or wind or smell or heat or any of these things just further make you feel like you're actually within the environment.
Yeah, multisensory.
Yeah.
So, Daryl, I wanted to ask you, what's the complexity level of SpectraVerse? Can children enjoy it, or do they have to have a PhD in like escape room technology?
This is really something for everyone to enjoy. As Saham mentioned earlier, the technology is a simple set of glasses that the guests wear. It's not a heavy VR headset or anything like that. And really, the theming, technology, and storyline can be tailored to any age group or demographic or subject matter. So it's really universal to who it can be applied to.
The content itself and the experience you have is fully tailorable. It could be as simple as make your way to A, B, and C, or it could be, hey, collect all these rings and find them. It really is whatever the developer or operator wants to create.
So can you talk to some of the aspects that we've incorporated specifically into the SpectraVerse attraction system that people may have not seen before?
Being that it is a system, only part of it is the display technology. And the 3D glasses, as Daryl was mentioning, that's just one part of it. There's several systems all working together that provide that real-time tracking, the real-time content, the real-time integration. All these systems work together in a homogeneous nature that allow the experience to unfold, right? It's not, I'm going to see something that's visually appealing. I'm going to touch this one thing and interact. It's like, no, it all kind of works together, and that's what fully consumes your senses into feeling like you're there.
Until you get there and look at it and have the epiphany that you're looking at something entirely different than the person next to you. I mean, that's really where it's at.
I still remember calling you down and be like, Daryl, it's ready.
Yeah.
Come look. And what'd you think? What was
my mind was blown. Totally blown. Because I pick up one set of glasses and I'm looking at a lava field and there's lava flowing out here. And he says, okay, put on these glasses. And I put on these glasses and I'm looking at a castle. And I don't know what to think. And I walk up near the screen and I look around the corner and I can see the sky go off into the distance over here. And it is like really opening up a window onto another world.
Yeah, it's really unbelievable. And me, who I have seen so much in visual effects and things that people have done over the years to trick senses, this is really one of those things that you've got to see it.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing.
I mean, yeah, there's a lot of people out there that are going to know, how did they do that? And we're not going to tell you. That's our secret.
Well, I tell you, this really blends not only with the technology development here and the attraction design technology that we've had, but also with the media production. So our Falcon's Digital Media Studio has done a tremendous job really moving from a traditional media production studio and way of doing things into expanding into, this live game-based media production and real-time rendering. The technology that we've used with the real-time game engines has really opened things up.
This maybe ties into the technology, but we've been talking about player agency and how players have influence over the outcome of the story. Daryl, can you address what that means?
Yeah, this really ties directly into that real-time game rendering. The way that we're able to track the system and track the player as they're in the game, we can do that to influence their emotions. Literally what they're seeing is, I hate to use the term no latency at all, but it's essentially an immediate reaction on the screen, what you're seeing. So the guests can be, if they're in a battle scene, for example, their guns can be shooting and they can immediately see the reaction on the screen. And also the other players in the scene, they can see it from their perspective. So we're rendering not only the let's call it the shooter's perspective of this, but we're rendering in all the other players. We're able to take that data from the shooter's point of view and render it appropriately for each of the other players in the room so they can have that experience, but from their real-time perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a good analogy I like to give is, let's say you're in zone 1 and you blow out a window. Well, in a traditional dark ride, when it's all baked media content, well, 1, you're not blowing out a window, or 2, if you didn't, it would be blown out on the next one, right? Like it's linear. In this situation, if you blow out a window and then go around the other side, now that blown out window might cause more bad guys to come in and now change the storyline to being more bad guys, right? It's dynamic and it's ever evolving and changing. And maybe then you take some of that and go home and build up on your profile and let's say level up. And then maybe you come back to the same area and take your level up character and go through the same attraction. And you get to see stuff you've never never seen before.
Okay. Second time my mind is blown.
So this really is blending, the development of video games and gaming technology with an attraction and making it an additive experience. Could be additive every time you go through it.
Right.
Yeah, it's no longer just a one-time ride, a two-time. It's the repeatability is way bigger than any attraction.
Now, are players holding anything in their hands?
This can be done either as the guest just walking through, having a simple walkthrough experience, or we could integrate some props. Maybe there's some swords, maybe there's a staff or a gun, who knows what it is. But this could be all story-driven, and those items that the content determines to be put in there could have a great role, and maybe the tracking follows that storyline.
It could be very dynamic. Maybe you have a prop. Let's say you enter your zone and there's a cube in front of you, and depending on which way you move that cube, up to you completely, will decide what your next scene is going to look like, right? Could be you go down a river that has like a fork in it. You can choose your destination, choose your adventure.
Oh, I like that. So this was truly a team effort with a lot of people involved, and I know there were a lot of technical challenges that you and the design team had to overcome. Can you talk to those?
One of the big things that we were after is minimal amount of latencies. When dealing with light, radio frequencies, and all these other technologies, and everything has to play together with minimal amount of latency, and things are real-time and dynamic, you're really asking for a lot. And then you're also asking for a lot of computations to be done in real time. So we not only had to kind of almost wait for technology to catch up when we're talking about computer graphics, but then also ensuring that latencies from head tracking were at a very, very minimal where it's unintelligible. You can't see it, you can't feel it, you can't notice it. When all the systems are humming along, it's not breaking. You're fully in it.
Can one player, like say I like to be the antagonist when I go to these things, I like to pick on everybody, and I don't mind if everybody's against me. Is that possible in the SpectraVerse attraction system?
Absolutely. So creatively, this is totally something that we would love to work with a developer on is creating these multiple roles where people can play these different roles within a storyline and, execute different character traits or whether you want to be the antagonist, the protagonist, good guy, bad guy, or whether you want to be on different teams. Maybe it's a whole team against another team. These are the kind of fun situations that we want to allow our guests to get into. And the end result of either the SpectraVerse Quest attraction or the SpectraVerse Odyssey attraction, we're able to provide a system that gives each individual guest their own view on reality, this new reality.
Okay, guys. Well, this was a great conversation. I highly enjoyed it. Thank you, Saham and Daryl.
Thanks for having us.
Well, we're back with Cecil now. That was incredible. What'd you think, Cecil?
Wow, that was amazing. I really enjoyed hearing how Daryl was talking about the product and how it is offering something unique in the marketplace. It's truly, there's nothing like this currently in the marketplace now. And, obviously Saham's knowledge about some of the technology, we're, obviously kind of cryptic about some of the things that we've done to execute this amazing experience. But a lot of the technologies that we're embracing are tried and true, right? There's a lot of due diligence that's been put into place to make sure that this is robust. So we definitely poke holes and validate the fact that this is going to be reliable and really something that you could depend on experience after experience after experience. So it's a new way of storytelling that we're really excited about having people experience.
Sounds like an incredible experience. Once again, we can't wait for it. Thank you again for your time, Cecil.
Oh, my pleasure. This was really fun.
Once again, I'd like to thank Saham Ali and Daryl White. Thanks for listening. We'll be back with you soon for another episode of Experience Imagination.
Thank you for listening to Experience Imagination, a Falcons Creative Group production. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to the podcast and share with your friends. To keep up with our latest news, visit us on the web at falconscreativegroup.com and follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. If you have any questions, comments, or ideas for future episodes, please email us at podcast@falconscreativegroup.com.